asking me, bow tie, what you got on? And I'll be like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. That's splat. That's splat right there. What's good, YouTube? It's Darren. I'm the bow tie fragrance guy on the channel where fragrance, fashion, and lifestyle is what we get all into. So if one, both, or all three of those things show or are of interest to you, consider subscribing to the channel and make sure to hit the bell icon as well to get notified when I upload new content on the channel. All right, guys, so today I am rocking the gray suit. This one is by Spear & McKay, and of course the tie pocket square by the master Tom Ford. My shirt today is actually by Charles Tyrwhitt, which is another shirt maker that I've been wearing Charles Tyrwhitt shirts for a long time. Again, right now for me it's Spear & McKay, Charles Tyrwhitt when it comes to my dress shirts, but that is what I am rocking today. So just a little bit more on that, guys, as far as the style tip, as I chose today to go with a little bit of contrast and actually kind of pull in the white from the shirt, this time with the pocket squares. The pocket square is black and white. Of course, the tie is more black and gray, but all together, of course, it all works together. So that's what I'm rocking today, guys. Tell me what you think about this combination. Drop it down in the comment section. So on today's video, I'm going to be talking about 12 fragrances from my collection that were released, well, designer fragrances that is, I want to make that clarification. 12 designer fragrances that were released over the past 3 years. These are, in my opinion, the top 12 fragrances that have been released. Now, you guys know, if you've been watching my channel here recently, I've kind of had a gripe, if you will, about designer fragrances not really getting that creative and just, you know, technically just releasing flanker after flanker. Now, I will make this disclaimer as well, as I always have said. It's not that the fragrances don't smell good, but as a fragrance enthusiast, I just want something new. So as I look back over my collection, I just wanted to kind of go back and say, man, you know, how long has this really been going on? How long has this been a trend? And it started a few years ago, honestly, and it's been going on into the present. But with that being said, again, I just wanted to kind of give you guys, in my opinion, what have been the top 12. I don't have every single designer fragrance that's been released over the last 3 years. I have quite a few of them. And from what I have, I'm going to be telling you guys about the top 12, at least the ones, in my opinion, that I feel like are worth you guys purchasing. So if you want to see what made my list of 12 newly released designer fragrances over the last 3 years that are worth purchasing, then you guys know the routine, man. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it.
The Bowtie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's go ahead and jump into the video. Are you guys digging the frames, man? Are you digging the frames? I talked about these frames earlier this week on a video. I told you guys I did a little shopping from Tom Ford, and these are the latest additions to the collection of my Tom Ford frames. I'm digging them. I hope you guys like them as well. I'm not going to do the whole video with these on. I just wanted to show you guys how they look because I told you I would let you guys know how they looked in. Well, here's how they look. All right, guys, so coming in at the 12th spot on this list, again, these are 12 of the best designer fragrance releases over the last 12 years, in my humble opinion. And this one, although I am not at all a fan of the bottle, I have to say that every time I talk about this fragrance because it's just not, you know, whatever. But the fragrance itself, I give a nod to, and this one is from the house of Paco Rabanne, and this is Phantom. Phantom. Now, you guys, of course, remember this one. I think it was released last year, 2021. And again, I don't like this short circuit bottle. it's not as juvenile to me. And again, you know, some things look great in the collection. That's a part of this whole thing for us, right? The whole presentation. Not really a fan of this one, but the fragrance itself, I give a nod to. Number one, it is one of the few fragrances released over the last couple of years that wasn't an actual flanker. All right, so this was very creative. The bottle, though not a fan of it, it was a creative presentation. The fragrance was something different. It's not a flanker of another fragrance, and the fragrance smells great. It has this kind of, I get this kind of fruity opening with some lemon in here. I think some apple. Love the combination of that and the lavender in the opening of this fragrance. And then on the dry down, you get this a little bit of smokiness and some sweetness from vanilla. It works. A fragrance to me that really fits into the modern day fragrances, how people are kind of following a certain trend to a degree, but then it veers off and kind of does its own thing, and that I can appreciate. So for those reasons, it's in the 12th spot for me from the house of Paco Rabanne. Again, this one is called Paco Rabanne Phantom. All right, so coming in at the 11th spot, this fragrance, it comes from a lineage of fragrances that they do a summer release on this particular line every year. And to me, this has been one of the best from the house of Dolce & Gabbana, the light blue line. This one is called Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Forever. Now, they re-released this again this year under a different name. It was called Light Blue Italian Love, I think. And you guys know what I'm talking about because the release from this year smells almost exactly like this one. And since this one came out first, this is the one that I'm going to include on this list because I really do like this fragrance. It's really, of course, it's really spicy. It's got this aquatic touch to it, very salty touch to it. But of course, the star player to this, to me, is the grapefruit. You get a lot of grapefruit, and I mean a lot of grapefruit in the opening of this scent, but I really enjoyed it when I first put my nose on this. A very photorealistic smell of grapefruit, and at the time, last year when this came out, although a flanker, that made this fragrance very unique, and it really stood out to me, and of course, that's why it's on the list. So in the 11th spot, this one again is from the house of Dolce & Gabbana. This is Light Blue Forever. All right, guys, so coming in at the 10th spot on this list, this one actually is from the house of Dolce & Gabbana. This was an exclusive release. And honestly, to this day, I still don't know if this fragrance has made it to the U.S. because once I got my hands on it, I kind of stopped, you know, my frantic search. But I'm glad that I do have this in my collection because if nothing else, it was very creative. This one came from, again, from the One line of fragrances, and this one is called Dolce & Gabbana, the One Luminous Nights. Luminous Nights. Now, this is one you have to see in person, man, because honestly, a camera is not going to do this fragrance justice for how beautiful the bottle presentation is. This kind of royal blue bottle is just absolutely gorgeous to actually have this bottle in your possession. But outside of that, very unique note of dates that they use in this fragrance. And again, at this point, that's something that gets, for me, a lot of points when you can do a fragrance that is creative and it is not typical of what we're smelling. This is a very unique scent. I haven't come across anything yet that smells like this, and that's one of the reasons this gets such high ratings for me with this particular scent. In addition to the fact that the presentation is absolutely gorgeous. So, guys, if you can, I know it may be put you through a little bit of anguish to hear about a fragrance, and it's hard to get your hands on it. But if you can, I highly recommend this one from the house of Dolce & Gabbana. Again, this is called the One Luminous Nights. All right, guys, so coming in at the 9th spot, another one that wins a lot of points for creativity from the house of Maison Margiela, the Replica line. This one is called Autumn Vibes. Autumn Vibes. And I think this came in near the tail end of last year, around the perfect time I felt to be released around fall last year. And this is just amazing how they captured the smell of fall in a bottle. They continue to amaze me how they do that with these settings and things of that nature, and how they're able to capture the essence of that in a bottle. And they hit the ball out of the park with this scent. It smells phenomenal. The best way, I hate to sound redundant, but the best way to describe this is it smells like the fall season. You walk outside, You smell this earthiness. You smell acorns on the ground, red crushed leaves, a little bit of grass, as if the grass is kind of course, turning colors at this point. They captured all that in this bottle. Amazing creation. That's why it's on this list from the house of Maison Margiela from that Replica line. This one is called Autumn Vibes. All right, guys, so coming in at the 8th spot for me on this list, this one came from the house of Pasha de Cartier. Well, from the house of Cartier, this is Pasha de Cartier Parfum. Pasha de Cartier Parfum. This came in 2020. And of course, all of us can remember it was a very weird year. A lot of people were not really going out and having a chance to really experience life as we knew it. But this snuck in tail end of 2020 and to me was probably the best release of 2020. This one, there's a boozy, I think a whiskey accord in it when it opens up. You get some sandalwood, so it's creamy at the same time, but you also get this kind of spicy green, very prominent note of fir balsam. All right, and again, it's very green and spicy. And the combination of those things, I guess when you think about it, just off the top of your head, may not work, but in this fragrance, it works. Very unique, performs well, amazing fragrance release from the house of Cartier. And of course, that's why it's on this list. So check it out, guys, from the house of Cartier. This is Pasha de Cartier Parfum. All right, so coming in at the 7th spot on this list, this one was released this year. And I'm just going to tell you now, I love this fragrance from the house of Jean-Paul Gaultier. This is Beau Le Parfum. Beau Le Parfum, versatile scent. I think you can pull this off in the summer, but you can really pull this off year round. It's signature scent worthy. And it features notes of pineapple, coconut, and iris. Now, those notes, of course, you get a little bit of that powderiness as you would expect from iris. Very prominent note, like I said, of coconut, give that tropical vibe. So I think a lot of people, it puts you in the mindset of the summertime. And then it dries down, man. You get that sweetness that comes in from tonka bean. Amazing fragrance. That's why it's on the list. Guys, try to get your hands on this one. It's not as readily available as some of the others, but if you can, this is one I recommend you pick up from the house of Jean-Paul Gaultier. This is called Beau Le Parfum. All right, guys, so coming in at the 6th spot on this list, another release from this year from the house of Azzaro. This is the Most Wanted Parfum. The Most Wanted Parfum, guys, listen, I was a big fan of the Most Wanted, which came out last year. I'm getting so confused. There's so many flankers. I have to make sure I'm saying the correct name. But when they came out with this one this year, the Most Wanted Parfum, this one took that DNA to another level. Bourbon vanilla, ginger. They list woodsy notes. I get cedarwood. I definitely pick up cedar. I definitely pick up sandalwood in this one as well. It could be some others in here, but man, this is a gem from this year. Now, I'm one of those folks that really believe in the proper seasons to wear fragrances. This is more of a fall winter scent. When we hit the fall, I'm going to be wearing the heck out of this thing. So check it out, guys. One that was released this year that I highly recommend. This is Azzaro, the Most Wanted Parfum. All right, guys. So in my top 5 designer fragrances released over the last 3 years, this is one that, I've talked about. Not a lot of people still talk about this. I don't know how this fragrance flew under the radar and is continuing to fly under the radar. But at the end of the day, doesn't change the fact that, in my opinion, this was one of the best from the house of Yves Saint Laurent. This is Homme Le Parfum. Homme Le Parfum, easily one of the most complimented fragrances on this list. You kind of get the original Homme DNA again, and I will always describe it this way, with a kind of blue DNA, maybe a Dylan Blue, maybe a Dior Sauvage. But when you combine that with Homme, you get this, and this stuff is magical. Trust me, guys, check it out. If it doesn't have to be anything super creative for you, this is one that I think you need to check out, because if it's just about smelling great, other folks telling you that you smell great, getting compliments, this is one that you need in your life. From the house of Yves Saint Laurent, check this one out, guys. Again, this one is called Homme Le Parfum. All right, so coming in at the 4th spot, another one that was released this year that, I've been wearing a lot, It's just hard to not like this DNA from the house of Giorgio Armani. This is Acqu Di Gio Eau de Parfum. Acqu Di Gio Eau de Parfum, and personally, outside of Profumo, this has been my favorite of all the other flankers released of the original Acqu Di Gio. Just can't go wrong with this, man. It is going to put you in the mindset of several other flankers from the original Acqu Di Gio. You get the original Acqu Di Gio, a little bit of Profondo, a little bit of Profumo, a little bit of Essenza. You get where I'm trying to go with that. But this thing, at the end of the day, with all that being said, just works. I really enjoy this scent. Again, it's a classic. You know, I kind of wish they had come out right after the EDT they had came out with this, but that's just in my own logical mind. At the end of the day, it works. From the house of Giorgio Armani, coming in at the 4th spot, this is Acqu Di Gio Eau de Parfum. All right, guys, so coming in at the 3rd spot, you guys know how much I love this scent because I've ranted and raved about this scent a lot, especially here recently, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but definitely one that deserves to be in the top list of more newly recently released designer fragrances from the house of Prada, Luna Rossa Ocean. Prada Luna Rossa Ocean just made a video of mine last week, some of my most worn fragrances. I wear the heck out of it because I like it, I love it, I want some more of it. And that's why it's on the list, man. Just check it out. Again, don't want to spend too much time on this one because I just talked about it here recently. Definitely deserving of a spot in the top 5 from the house of Prada. This is Luna Rossa Ocean. And coming in at the number 2 spot, this one comes from the house of Paco Rabanne as well, and this is 1 Million Elixir. 1 Million Elixir, this stuff is an elixir of gods when you talk about designer fragrances. You have some rose in here, you have apple, you have vanilla, you have tonka bean, you have an amazing fragrance. If you guys didn't see the video I did with my wife where we talked about recent designer fragrance releases, this is one that she lost her mind over. And if you guys wear this fragrance, I think you probably will get a similar result because it's just one of those fragrances that works. It's one of those sweet fragrances that has some fruits on the top. Gets them every time. So check it out from the house of Paco Rabanne. Again, this one is called 1 Million Elixir. All right, guys, and coming in at the number 1 spot on this list of the best designer fragrances released over the last 3 years from the house of Christian Dior, Dior Sauvage Elixir. Dior Sauvage Elixir. Now, this had to be up here because arguably Dior Sauvage has been the best-selling, most popular designer fragrance release over the past 10 years. I think the original was released in 2015, so now it's 2000, so the last 7 years, the best designer fragrance release based on the numbers. And when you take the original DNA and you can twist that, make it something that's a little bit more warm, spicier, and good for the fall and winter, while still maintaining some hints of the original DNA. Mr. Francois Demachy, you deserve a pat on the back, and that's why this fragrance comes in at the number 1 spot. Now, my only quarrel with this scent is the fact that you can only get it in this small size bottle, and it was very expensive for such a small amount of fragrance. But at the end of the day, I don't know, I guess they put some high quality ingredients into it. It does smell of high quality, so maybe that's the reason why. But outside of that, scent DNA wise, this was definitely the best released over the last 3 years. So check it out. You probably can find it a little bit discounted now than that $150 that this went for originally. And if you can find it, if you don't have it, check it out. From the house of Christian Dior, this is called Sauvage Elixir. All right, guys, that's it. That's my time, man. I hope you enjoyed this list today as I gave you my top 12 designer fragrance releases that were released over the past 3 years. As always, I sincerely appreciate your time and your attention to these videos because you don't have to watch, but you do. And I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to make sure you take a few moments to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you are sharing these videos out to some other folks that you think could use this information to find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy. Darren, I'm the bow tie fragrance guy. I love to look good. Of course, I love to smell absolutely amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good. Keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.